So tell me, at what point did you know inside that you were different? You know, that you had something different amongst your peers and people around you?
Yeah, I remember the time I was 15. You know, because my parents would have us do performances sometimes, like assemblies in school. You know, sometimes you see like cultural assemblies where they bring in like an Indian family or like an Asian family or like African family, or performers, you know. And my parents had a career in performing, specifically African drum and dance in a certain time. And they would do this within the highlights of other things that they did in life. You know, one time they had us perform at my 14, 15, I was with like high school. I believe I was a freshman, and I had to perform. And I was like, you know, one day I'm wearing like basketball jerseys and saving up my money to buy Uptowns and feeling like a cool kid. The next day I gotta put on my traditional regalia and be very like Congolese and sing these traditional songs that we know, and play these traditional patterns. And I remember getting on stage and just like my group was just laughing, like, cause they all knew my family was the one performing, cause it was like a flyer out in the school. And you know, I just remember them laughing at me so bad. And I remember feeling like, yo, I thought these were my guys. Like, how can they laugh that this is my culture, this is who I am? And I was playing the drum, and my father's like, I'm being like ashamed, kind of putting my head down, and he would do these signals with the drum that would kind of make you, like when he snapped, when you hit the drum hard, you kind of woke up and would keep. And I remember at one point I looked out and I'm just like, yo, and I'm playing and having like a slow motion moment, like something you see in films. And while I'm completely active, I'm like, yo, this is who I am. Like, I can't run away from it. Like I'm Congolese. Like this is my culture. My face is painted. I have traditional regalia. This is my father. It's my mother. It's my brothers. My sisters are dancing. This is just who we are. And it was just like almost like a whoosh moment. And I kind of snapped back in, and I was just pop, like playing mad hard, like killing my solos and being like, I don't care. Like this is who I am. And it ended up being like, once we stopped, like standing ovation. Wow. And, you know, we went backstage, and I remember feeling like, and seeing my mother come and hugging me and be like, wow, I love how you do these solos, that was so strong. And my father was so proud of me, and it was just like one of those epical moments where I was like, you know, this is just who I am and who I'm going to be. And, you know, it was the first time that I really was proud of wearing the maquillage, because we've been doing this since I was 4 years old. And we'll get into that, but definitely like 15. Yeah, 15.
So your father's played like quite a big role
in
your life. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, that's my hero, man. He, just the integrity of this man, the character, like him sacrificing his career to build a family and be a father, like a full-blown 24-hour-a-day father. And his love for my mother and their love for each other was such a beautiful thing to watch growing up. And, you know, there was still some issues within the family. My father also had like a mental, like he would have like these bipolar episodes, very spiritual, like things that we couldn't really understand or explain. And it would last a couple months, and it would really stress the family out, because it's almost like he became a totally different person. But within that, he had this grandiose lion energy about him that was like father. Like he looked strong, he carried himself very strong, and he was very responsible to make sure that we ate. Because there were times where, you know, we didn't have much, like at all. But, you know, definitely, you know, heroic to the point where, you know, obviously like this maquillage that I wear, you know, this is a way of us carrying on tradition. Because in their time when they were creating the ballet, they unified all these villages in Africa. And, you know, Africa is big on tribes, thousands of tribes, and each tribe has their own kind of dialect of how they represent themselves. And within the space of their impression, they would do this painting, and we wear different colors for different meanings. White particularly meant the spirits. When you lose an ancestor, or like a rites of passage, or like a child is born, anytime transitional spiritual situation is where you wear white, because it's a way of inviting new spirits and denouncing those who shouldn't be around. So, you know, we usually wore them for themed events, but when he passed, my father died in 2012, and I'm the one who brought him to the hospital. He died that night. So a very dramatic point in my life. And it was because I was so involved and because it was so close to me, because of who he meant to me. I like the morning after, I just put the maquillage on that I usually wore for specific events, and I just wouldn't take it off. Like, to the point it was like peeled off, smeared on my face for like 4 days, crying, tears. And the only time that I would find relief whenever I was doing things publicly was when I would put the maquillage on. And at first it became like this kind of coping thing. And eventually it just became like a way that I can celebrate myself and my culture more. But definitely as far as a father, like, he instilled certain, certain ways to think about selfishness and humility and unconditional relation within family that I have in me, that I'm also going to obviously transmit to my kids, but definitely like a heroic figure, definitely a sacrificial figure in my life.
So what do people misunderstand about young Paris?
I think people, I think sometimes people don't know what my real vision is. I personally think I'm very, very talented. I think I can do anything, like literally limitless. And I think sometimes people aren't really sure, because of how talented I am, what my real particular direction is in life. Because sometimes they'll say, oh, you're the fashion guy, or you're the musician, or you're like the guy who's in Africa, or you're like the ambassador of like these kind of African subjects. Like, but for the most part, I don't think it's a misunderstood perspective. I think people just don't really understand like what my real mission really is. But people do believe in the idea of young Paris. I would say like it's never really been an issue of me feeling like I'm very misunderstood. I think my thing has been more like, I can do more than people think. Mm-hmm. I can create more than people can even fathom, And sometimes, obviously in the workspace or in the music space, you can feel underrated. You can feel like, yo, do you realize like I can get on this and make something beautiful as well? And, I feel like a lot of us relate to that as we're coming up, getting to where we are. Until we're really recognized for a certain type of status, we're questioned. Because, you have situations where you see this all the time online where, like, now that someone's a celebrity and now that they have, a hit single or they have, like, this immense, global perspective, their opinion all of a sudden matters so much more. Well, it's like their opinion might have been the same opinion a year ago, but all of a sudden, because they have a hit single, it's like, well, Drake said that, and Drake liked the picture. It's like, because you like a picture, that means that you must completely be invested in one perspective. But I think, as humans and I think as creatives, we already have that genius. You know what I'm saying? Basquiat was a genius before he died. It took him dying and, the world to kind of monetize his perspective to understand his real glory. But, I try to also, as an artist, remind myself that even if I'm not in a global platform as big as I see my potential, I'm still really who I really am. And my opinions are pure to what I believe the world, can what I believe I can permit and give to the world is very valid. I like to share something unique that also invites people to start a conversation and wonder why, like, I would do such a thing like paint a very strong contrasting white thing on my face when I have a beautiful face.